I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting.
Earlier you said that you were going to change the deadline from 50 days.
Yeah,
so what is your new deadline?
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made.
Mr. Russia moved up the deadline. It's now 10 or 12 days. Is the sanction the same that you're going to slap a 100% tariff on anybody who does business with Russia?
So what I'm doing is we're going to do secondary sanctions unless we make a deal, and we might make a deal. I don't know. I don't know. You don't know. It's we've done so many peace deals. This is the one I started out with, and I know President Putin called me. He wanted to know if I could help him with Iran. I said, no, I don't need your help with Iran. I need your help with Russia. And so that's the one deal that continues to linger. And we're losing 5,000. They're losing. I'm not losing. You're not losing. But 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian kids a week are dying. And that's not mentioning the people that are dying also in towns where, he's lobbing missiles into certain towns like Kyiv. And he's got to make a deal. It's too many people are dying. It's a really bloody war. And the 5 is now, they're really telling me that number is obsolete. It's like 7.
That's terrible.
So you have 7,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers dying every single week for no reason whatsoever. So you would think, based on common sense, you would think he'd want to make a deal. We'll find out.
No communication with Israel publicly. Have you had any other Iranian channels conversations with the Russians reiterating this?
In what?
Reiterating this new pressure and deadline.
We're going to have well, you're the press. I'm reiterating it to you. I'd say 10 to 12 days. I'll announce it probably tonight or tomorrow. But there's no reason to wait. If you know what the answer is going to be, why wait? And it would be sanctions and maybe tariffs, secondary tariffs. You know what a secondary tariff is. And look, the Russian economy, I don't want to do that to Russia. I love the Russian people. They're great people. I don't want to do that to Russia. But this thing, they're losing a lot of Russians. They've lost 1 million Russians. And that's the, sons. That's the sons and daughters of Russian families. They leave the house, they go, bye mom, bye dad, and then they get blown away. And Ukrainian too. Look at Ukraine. It's a disaster what's happened there. But it continues to go on. As you know, we made a deal where the European Union is essentially involved, but it's NATO, and we're supplying weapons to NATO. NATO's now paying because the United States, because of Biden's in for $350 billion, the European nations are in for about $100 billion. Should be the opposite way, by the way, because we have a big ocean in between. Should be the opposite way. But I think that eventually something's going to happen. It should happen fast. So many people are dying. When I settled out with Congo and Rwanda, they lost almost 8 million people. And it just made so much sense. And if I didn't get involved, they wouldn't have done it. They weren't even thinking about settling it. It was just going on forever. And nobody could go into those territories because they'd get killed. They'd get killed. And now they have I hear it's a whole different ballgame. We settled it. This is one that should be settled. Russia, Ukraine. This is one that really should be settled.
President Putin respecting you and helping you have a relationship with him. Do you still feel that way, that he respects you, considering the conversations you've had that have been really nice?
Yeah. I've always gotten along with President Putin. I have had a great relationship with him. And he went through the Russia hoax, too. It was, we used to talk about it. We used to say, it's too bad we really can't do anything between our country. Because if we did, they'd say, it's, some... Look, I was tough on Putin because I was the one that closed up Nord Stream, and Biden came along and opened it up. I was very tough on Putin in one way, but we got along very well. And I never really thought this would happen. I thought we'd be able to negotiate something, and maybe that'll still happen, but it's very late down the process. So I'm disappointed. And, the funny thing is that their economy isn't that big, and it's having a hard time right now, but it's a relatively small economy. A strong military, but strong economy. And it used to be a strong economy. Now it's not. He's gone through a lot. Economically, it's not easy. But it's pretty small, compared to that magnificent size of that land. The land is massive. It's got, I guess, 9 time zones or something. It's a massive piece of land. Russia could be so rich. It could be so rich. It could be thriving like practically no other country. And they're holding that back because we can't. He wants to do trade deals with us. He talks about it all the time. He wanted to. And I envision that a lot of trade with Russia. They have a lot of valuable things. When you talk about rare earth, they have serious rare earth, right? They have just about every form you can have. So, Russia could be so rich right now. Instead, they spend all their money on war. They spend everything on war and killing people, and it doesn't make sense to me. I thought he would want to end this thing quickly. I really felt it was going to end, but every time I think it's going to end, he kills people.
Could a meeting help, and are you considering, has been proposed?
I don't know. I'm not, I'm not so interested in talking anymore. He talks, we have such nice conversations, such respectful and nice conversations, and then people die the following night with a missile going into a town and hitting, recently, I guess, the nursing home, but they hit other things. Whatever they hit, people die. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.